Okay, no hate to this commenter whatsoever. Seriously, in just in so two things. First, in just acknowledging the privilege that I have. I wasn't bragging about it at all, but kind of one of the first lessons that I learned from a couple of black women on this app who are creators is that people like me should acknowledge their privilege, and so I do often. One of those people was White Woman Whisperer. I follow her. I love her page. I learn a lot from her. Because I think it's important to acknowledge that. So I'll put it this way. So in the video where this comment was, I said, I was very fortunate to be raised by parents and grandparents who did not teach me to be racist in America. They taught me to not be racist against other people, which is an amazing first step. It's a great way to start with raising your kids in this country, I think. But K through 12, I did not learn hardly anything about the actual history of this country. I just didn't. They didn't teach us that, that they didn't teach us that there were 80 million people living in North America when Christopher Columbus didn't even land on what would become the 48 states. He landed somewhere in the Caribbean and discovered America. He discovered America where 80 million people were already living. And then, that we proceeded to basically slaughter almost all of those people over a couple of hundred years and take all of their land. They didn't teach us about that part of our history that way. That, Christopher Columbus was a hero and he discovered America. And, the Mayflower came here and then there was the first Thanksgiving and everybody got along great. And when, it turns out the first Thanksgiving was actually a slaughter of Native Americans. They just didn't teach us any of this shit, man. And, so there's that component. But, in being raised to not be racist, it's like I didn't have any of that history when I was younger. And so I didn't have an awareness of all of the subsequent things that came from or were built on that history. And obviously a huge part of that history was 250 years worth of slavery and 100 years worth of Jim Crow laws. And, so I didn't have any awareness of things like systemic racism in this country. I didn't have any awareness of the history of policing in this country and where the roots of that came from. And, and again, it's like in acknowledging my privilege, it's just, it's me acknowledging to myself that I still benefit from all of these things simply because of the color of my skin and many things because of my gender. And, it's just acknowledging that the color of my skin has never made my life more difficult than it already was. When I don't know that people who are different colors can say that in the United States. I'm pretty sure that they can't. And we have a 400-year history supporting that. But your first comment, boy, that's something that I'm really struggling with. That is something that I have really been struggling with. And there's another black woman on this app who speaks often and very eloquently about empathy. And I'm mutuals with her. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for her and her content and the work that she does. And she has a website off of this app where you can have fill out an empathy scorecard and learn more about yourself. And I haven't been able to do that yet. I keep putting that off. But in large part because it's like my empathy reserves are they're drained. And one of the things that makes me the angriest over that's been building over the last decade, but especially since the beginning of this year, going back to the election day, is, I mean, how to phrase this. I'm angry about how I feel towards these people, and and it's really uncomfortable for me how I feel towards these people, towards Donald Trump and his supporters. Just fucking rage, man. Just rage. There is no empathy whatsoever. I mean, it's gone. It's gone. And, you know, I can rationalize that all I want and be logical about it and say that they don't deserve my empathy. But then it's like, then it's like, in a way, then I'm just like them. You know, I become just like them. And that's the part that is angering me so often. It's just, I feel such rage and hatred towards these people. And I don't know that I've ever felt like actual legitimate hatred for anybody in my life. I could count on one hand the number of people who might fall into that category, but they're all individuals who did incredibly shitty things to me, most of them on purpose. And to feel this level of hatred, you know, for 35% of the entire country is, I I know it's unhealthy. I know it's not great for my mental well-being, but I'm not sure how to find my way out of that right now. And I think the overriding thing for me is that right now I'm not sure that I want to. I'm not sure that I want to get to a point where I feel empathy for these fucking people. I you know, and I mean, maybe it's part of the privileges that I have in this country that I've discussed before. And it's like kind of in the back of my head that I know that I don't have to. I don't have to feel empathy for these fucking people. I don't have to feel empathy or sympathy or understanding, you know, or just chalk it up to them having been manipulated, because it's like they wouldn't have been able to be manipulated the way they've been if they weren't already fucking racist. You know, I mean, Donald Trump knows how to manipulate his supporters with racism and misogyny and homophobia, transphobia, and bigotry. I mean, he knows how to do that with his crowd, you know? And I've been really, 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 really struggling with empathy, because it's something I've been a big proponent of over the course of my, you know, adulthood, especially when I've been in therapy, as I am right now. But I have none. I mean, I have none for these people. Zero empathy. And at the same time, I recognize that that's not ideal to feel that way. And it's very uncomfortable for me.